Somebody's in the front seat on the phone. That's cool.
Thank you.
Rupert and I have known each other for a number of years, but in January 2013, we both appeared at a now rather notorious TEDx conference in London, following which, after being online for a few days, both our talks mysteriously vanished. Setting in motion a discussion that went worldwide that we had not expected or anticipated. It was funny, really. I mean, TED, they wanted to shut us up by taking us offline, but they had the opposite effect in doing that. Now, actually, the talks that we gave were very different, but I think the one area that they had in common, which particularly got under Ted's skin, was the notion of non-local consciousness, that consciousness may not be simply an artifact or an epiphenomenon of brain activity, that it may be more mysterious and more complex than that. I am simply a writer, a journalist, but Rupert's a real scientist. And here's the interesting thing. Rupert has brought his real scientific discipline to the investigation of problems and mysteries that most so-called real scientists wouldn't touch with a barge pole. And that's exactly what we need. We need scientists with the courage to bring rigor and discipline to the investigation of the mysteries that surround us all. And Rupert's work over many decades has been of, I would say, incredible importance in bringing forth rational and focused discussion on these key areas which so often are the subject of rather woolly and not thoroughly thought through discussions. And I want to pay tribute to Rupert for that. Now, Rupert's known for Rupert's most recent book is actually called The Science Delusion in Britain, but here in America they gave it the title Science Set Free. It's called The Science Delusion in Britain in a wry reference to the Pope of materialist science, Richard Dawkins, who wrote a book called The God Delusion. But I think Science Set Free works really well as a title. Rupert's also written The Presence of the Past. He's written a very intriguing book called The Sense of Being Stared At. Morphic resonance, of course, is the subject for which Rupert is most widely known, perhaps. And then an intriguing title here, Dogs That Know When Their Owners Are Coming Home. Well, actually, that's a really important issue, because if dogs know when their owners are coming home and there are, in fact, no cues to enable them to have that information, then they're breaking the so-called laws of physics and the laws of materialist science. And these are precisely the kind of problems we need to be investigating. And Rupert is the man who's investigating them and doing them with rigor and with intelligence and with imagination. And it's my pleasure to introduce him, Rupert Sheldrake.
Well, thank you, Graham. And thank you, Gary, and all the people who've made this gathering happen. It's been a huge amount of work, I know. Well, the science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. And this is a very widespread belief in our society. In fact, it's the kind of pre-installed belief system of most educated people. The educational system gives that impression. And of course, the sciences have been extraordinarily successful. We've all benefited from modern medicine. We all got here because of cars and planes and transport systems that work. Most people have mobile telephones, cell phones. Nearly all of us use computers and the internet. This is hugely impressive, and it rightly impresses everybody in the world. There's hardly anyone in the world who's not aware of these transformations wrought through science and its technological applications. So what could possibly be wrong with it? Well, it works very well in certain areas, extremely well, but the science as we know it is based on a set of assumptions that became built in to the scientific worldview between the 17th and the 19th centuries. It's essentially founded on a basis of dogmatic assumptions which have hardened into almost unquestioned beliefs. Most people who believe in science and who believe in the scientific worldview, which is in effect the philosophy of materialism, don't actually realize that they're believing in a worldview. They think other people have beliefs, but they know the truth. And this is one of the problems in dealing with people who have been thoroughly indoctrinated with the materialist worldview. They just don't realize it's actually a worldview or a philosophy of nature. They think it's factually the truth.